Welcome back, wannabes and creators, to another episode of The Business of Art, the podcast that demystifies business for artists. And today on the program, I have Eva Hartmann, who is also a romance author under the name Jewel Quinlan. And I know some of you may be rolling your eyes and saying, ugh, what does a romance author have to tell me about making books? Well, stop it, because romance authors, I swear to you, are the most ruthless marketers and business people I've ever met. More than comics, more than any other fiction, maybe more than any human beings on the entire planet. These people, men and women who are romance authors, are the real deal Holyfield. It is incredible to watch. It is incredible to listen to. Their marketing game is on point as an entire industry, and it's probably why they are far and away the biggest category on Amazon. So I wanted to have Eva/Jewel come on and talk about marketing and sales and building a career and all of that awesome stuff. And she hit it out of the park, and we're going to get to it. But before we do, I want to remind you that you can get a free copy, free, of the first chapter of my new book, Sell Your Soul, How to Build Your Creative Career, online at GoSellYourSoul.com. It's the book I made for you, specifically for you, based on all of the stuff that people have been talking about for the past several years and questions that you've had about building and growing your own business. So I made this for you. You might as well check out the first chapter free at GoSellYourSoul.com. All right, that being said, let's get on with the show. Take it away, Eva. Tell us what you're passionate about these days.
Well, it's nice that you're asking me that question because I'm in the middle of a 2-year plan where I am putting forth all of my effort to work entirely online so that I can live wherever I want to live in the world and do whatever I want to do, as a matter of fact. So part of that is ramping up my author career and also my editing business. And you saw me speak about the online courses that I have, which are tie into my editing business. So that's been kind of a big learning curve this year, but it's all finally coming together.
That's so nice because that is, I run with mostly physical books now, so I am stuck in Los Angeles, but I am in sort of the more nascent stages of moving line sales because of the same reason. Like, I get a little bit of wanderlust, and I'm like stuck where all of my books are. So I totally respect that you're trying to like move and do more stuff online.
Yeah, and I find that happens to a lot of people. They're stuck somewhere because of, that's where they grew up, or, their job that they have. Let's say the movie industry, you're kind of limited to LA and, I don't know, New York. So my plan is to move to Germany. So I kind of need something I can do over there and not worry. I mean, although I do speak German, but I don't want to have to worry about language barriers or, getting a job. I just want to work for myself, finally.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think that's, so you said you're in the middle of this plan. Can you talk a little bit about like the outline for this plan for people so they can maybe like glean something from how to do this themselves?
Sure. Gosh, I think my wake-up call was when I turned 40. I'm 44 now, but, I always had this dream of being an author, and I'm like, dang it, well, I'm just finally going to go for it. And since 2013, I've published, my 15th book just came out. So that finally happened, so I'm like, well, why not work on some other dreams? Because this other dream of moving to Germany has never left me either. And so I just sat down, because every day for me was starting to be like Groundhog Day. And even though, I lived in Orange County and I had a nice place and life was pretty good in California, there's just some things at your core that are never going to leave you. And I'm like, okay, well, even if I just go for a year, at least I will have done it, and I won't miss anything. You're not really going to miss anything in a year. So I sat down and made a plan, and I'm like, okay, well, what do I need in order to do this? And so, obviously language, some way to earn an income, decide where to live. Okay, well then how much money is it going to take me? What's the cost of living? And so it's just these little baby steps of writing down what you'll need. And I'll tell you, Russell, a year ago, it seemed extremely overwhelming, especially learning a language, right? Because I hadn't taken German in high school or college. I took Spanish, as a lot of Californians do. But I really love German, and now I'm advanced intermediate, and I can watch movies, and I can read books, adult books, finally. I used to read children's books. But the other thing that's helped, and that has helped my author career and also my editing career, is that technology has become so much more simple. And even with learning a language, there's online live learning platforms where you don't have to drive to a classroom anymore. Especially with my day job, because I travel for that. I can do it. I've done classes from a parking lot because traffic was so bad I had to pull over, and I sat in my car and I took a lesson in German. So it's really baby steps. It's always writing it down, having a to-do list, setting goals, and then it starts to come together. And having faith. Oh my gosh, mindset is such a huge part of making. For me, these are multiple major life changes. It's not just moving. It's language, it's culture, it's career, it's all of it at once, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, I think what you said last is there's so much to unpack there, but the thing about mindset is, to me, the most important thing, because you can have all of the practical knowledge in the world. I can fill your head with the how to do something, but if you don't believe you can do that, all of the practical knowledge is out the window because you never will take action.
Absolutely, and especially when it comes to big, hairy, audacious goals, the BHAGs, there's this natural thing that happens with your brain. I was a biology major, and your brain, it lives in the past. It uses information from the past, and it's there to keep you safe. So let's say you come up with this big, hairy, audacious goal. If your brain doesn't immediately see the path or have the knowledge, it freaks out, and then it goes into overwhelm, and then it goes into just give up. You're safe where you are, and I think that's what happens to a lot of people.
Absolutely. I mean, I know that even now, as I sit and I know that I can write books that people want to buy, because I've done this many times before. Trying to move online, my brain is still you can't do that. Just keep going to 40 shows a year and killing yourself, being gone from your family 20 weeks a year. Just that you know how to do that. For every dollar you put in, Y dollars comes out. That's easy. Why are you going to try and write 10 books simultaneously so that you can get 20 books or 15 books so that this seems stupid. Stop doing it. And so I think this is not just something to try when somebody is trying to move into a brand new career, but it's also when you're trying to take the next leap in the career you currently have. Whereas you just or anything you do that's in the unknown, your brain goes,
yeah.
Well, I know you know how to write comics, but can you really write books? Can you really write books? I don't know, man. I think you should just keep writing comics or whatever, whatever that thing is. Even if it's
Of course you can. Right. Anyone can write a book.
Absolutely, but that mindset is, I was very hard. I'm now writing my 7th or 6th or whatever the number of books, many books, many more books than I ever thought I would ever write in my life. But
yeah.
That first one, was just why are you doing this? And it wasn't until maybe the 5th one when people were buying the books that I could trick my brain to being you're wrong. You were objectively wrong now because I can show you sales numbers of books. I can show you people coming and talking about the books. So hush your mouth now. But that first initial mindset change is incredibly hard, no matter what position in life you're in.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's a huge part of it. It's the internal expansion of fighting your own survival wiring, and it's kind of where I'm an intuitive person, and I'm one of those people who trusts my gut. And part of my journey, that saying, when the student is ready, the teacher will appear.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, the first few steps before you find the teacher are wandering in the forest. And it's like following your gut radar of because it's funny how you inspire people just by being an author and having published book. They're like, oh my God, and they're so fascinated. It's funny. But it's fun to be that role model. I'm like, well, you need to trust your gut and follow what feels good. You are given emotions for a reason. And the feeling good part is leading you towards your natural strengths. And so part of it's just starting to explore what feels good. And all of a sudden you're stumbling on the right information for that journey that you wrote down, I don't know, 3 months ago. I tend to write things down and put them aside, and then I come back. I just did it last night. I just checked off. I'm like, oh, I did that, and I did that, and I did that. It's like, because you're in the background, it's another normal function of the brain that it'll keep trying to solve the problem in the background. Like when you forget the name of a movie or an actor, and like 2 o'clock in the morning, you sit up in bed, you're like, oh my God, now I know. It's because your brain was always working on it. So subconsciously, if you have a goal and you start wandering into the forest of possibility, it'll help you find the answers.
Right. I like to think of it like a computer where like you're just putting, like I have this file dump in the back of my brain, and there's just like as I'm reading or as I'm doing stuff, like it's filling up, and eventually my brain makes that connection, but it would never make that connection if I didn't have that goal, or if I didn't have that file folder in the first place to dump stuff. It would never be able to do the computing power to figure out the answer to that problem.
Yeah, and a lot of people they're too logical. If they don't know step 1, 2, and 3 right the second, then they just immediately go into overwhelm, and they don't even want to try. So and I'm like, please try something. Try just thinking about what makes you happy, what feels good. Just try exploring. Even if you don't even know how the heck you would make money from scuba diving right off the bat, there is a way.
Right, because people do it. Like people have done it before. Like, and usually people like I don't like to be negative on this show, but I know a lot of business owners, and many of them are no smarter than the average human being. I know many authors, and many of them are just like average, like human beings, and yet they have found a way to be successful. So if a lot of average intelligence human beings have found a way to be successful, it's not something that you must be like a brilliant human being. What they have that other people don't have tends to be like they're pretty okay with being punched in the face and getting up and just like shrugging it off and then trying again.
Yeah, I always say that. I'm like, I'm really not that smart. I'm just determined. I have a poor memory too, but somehow, and I'm not tech savvy, but somehow I've come through and I've learned Kajabi, and I set up these online courses, and I learned how to, do this automated system that I talked with you, that you saw in my presentation, and it was just all determination. It served me well in life. That'll take people much further than the Harvard grad who doesn't ever try.
Absolutely. I like to, so like people think that I have some sort of success in some small factor, small factor of like, in some groups, people consider me relatively successful. And and people always say, well, how do you, when people ask the question, I don't feel that way, because I'm looking at making like $20,000 online right now a month. And like, I have no idea how to do that. So to me, I feel incredibly unsuccessful in this thing, because I look at people who are doing that and like, I have no idea how they do that. Like, I know how to make money in the ways that I know how to make money, but I have no idea how to make money in these new ways to make money. So in some ways, like that being able to be punched in the mouth and learn new things isn't just like, oh, so you can do this once and be successful. It's that every time you master something, you're going to have a next step to do something else, and you have to be okay basically going back to complete beginner status and being a massive failure in that until you learn to succeed in that as well, right?
Yes, exactly. And it's, once you leave college, it's learning shouldn't end, and that's the point where you have to take control of your own learning. I think a lot of people are waiting to be shown or led, and it's like no, knowledge is free. If you can pick up a book, read it, and apply, It's the same thing as you don't need a teacher to lead you through.
Right.
You can
I
do
know. I
it.
think
And you don't have to pay all that money. Library's free.
I think it's so crazy that like when people ask me questions that are easily Googleable, I'm like, you need to learn some. Like you need like
Yes.
you are missing out on something and like taking advantage of something. Trying to think of the right words. Like you are discounting something that Stephen King would have given everything in his life for 40 years ago, which is the ability to see every piece of data on every book that's available now, like forever. Like you have 40 years of New York Times bestsellers. You can just Google New York Times bestseller list for the last 40 years. You can see what's on the Amazon top 100 right now. Like, do you know how much people used to pay for that kind of data even 5, 10 years ago?
Oh, it's crazy. I mean, it's right now is it's the best time to be an author ever. I mean, your success is entirely in your hands. It's really awesome.
Absolutely. So, are there any tips or tricks that you've developed over the years to kind of like get yourself in the right mindset or get yourself ready to like tackle a big challenge like learning Kajabi?
Yes. So for me it's always baby steps. And a lot okay, so and I do get into overwhelm. So I don't want to discount overwhelm because it affects everybody. And even building this online course, like I had learned Kajabi, I was ready to go, and then there was a couple of days where I was just too darn overwhelmed to record anything. I had the microphone set up and all the ideas floating around. Um, so what I like to do is visualize, set a very small goal for the day and visualize because that's how you teach your brain in advance. That's how you make the room. Even for writing, you train your brain that, it's not so hard. And the brain doesn't know the difference between you actually doing it and visualization. Olympic athletes use this technique. And so I'll just practice in the car sitting down and then successfully recording it. Oh, it's so simple. Editing a little bit and then finally compiling it so I could load it to Kajabi. And for me, that's worked quite a bit. So baby steps, writing things down, and then visualizing, especially when you're overwhelmed. Sure, take a little bit of time if you're locked up, but then start to make a plan.
Yeah, I think people underestimate how much just doing a little bit every day can do to make you an expert in something, to make you like maybe not great, but at least competent in something. Like just
It's huge.
I mean,
Yeah.
I can't believe sometimes after a year where I'm like, ugh, I feel like I didn't do anything this year, and I'm like, oh well, like I learned like how to do WordPress, and like I learned how to do courses, and I learned how to do Teachable and Kajabi. Like I learned all of these things. Yeah, maybe none of these things are making me a ton of money now, but like just like from where I was last year. My birthday's coming up in a couple weeks, so I tend to like be very introspective around my birthday about like what has happened in the past year. And you just go,
Perfect.
wow, like just taking little steps every like day, not even big steps. Like I don't think there was like maybe 2 or 3 days this whole past year that have been like monumental leaps forward, but just taking these little steps every day and knowing that like just doing something small every day, even if it's not what your goal was, is like so much further than most people ever get.
Absolutely. Oh my gosh. Yeah, that brings me to another thing I do to move forward is I keep a timesheet. And I did write a blog post one year about everything I'd accomplished that year. And you're right. Like I'm like, oh my gosh, I learned social media. I learned how to, schedule posts, WordPress, all this stuff you have to do. I published all these books and made them into audiobooks. And like, it's incredible what you can do. But my timesheet, because that helps keep me sane sane and in the middle between either being too lazy or being a workaholic, and I can stray into both areas. Because sometimes, if you're an author or if you're learning something, like things like research take time and you feel like you haven't done anything. And sometimes all the research you do is to find like the one right word to put in the sentence so that your hero's career sounds correct, you know?
Right.
So yeah, I log my time, and that way I'm like, okay, good girl, you did some work. And we forget to celebrate our accomplishments, and that's so important
Oh,
too.
I was just talking to someone about that. They were saying that they were just about to record their 50th podcast. And they were like, doesn't feel like that much. Like, should I celebrate? And I was like, look, man, I never celebrate any. I was like, I
Yeah.
never celebrate anything. Like, I'm the worst person at this kind of like advice where it's like, yeah, you should celebrate. I never celebrate. Like, I used to celebrate and now I don't anymore. I'm like, please don't be a bitter husk of like, just like, a person like me, like, celebrate these things, because 50 episodes is like a huge accomplishment. Finishing a book is a huge accomplishment. It's never less huge anytime you do it. It just feels less huge because you've done it before, but like, if you can remember the first time you've like hit publish, it's a massive accomplishment. And doing that 15 times, it's still 15 massive accomplishments, even though it doesn't feel that way to you. Maybe.
Yeah. Yes, it's oh my gosh, yeah. 50, I celebrated with the first one, and I think with Romance Writers of America we have these milestones. So like number 10, we get a pin, and even in our chapter meetings, it's really nice because they'll celebrate new releases and things like that. So that helps. But finishing a series, I mean, after so many books, like number 15 was the wrap up to a series, and I had some blocks with that. I'm like, oh my gosh, well, how do I tie in the first 3 books and character arc and bringing things around and so that it took me a little while to finish book 4 because of a couple mental things like that, even though I had written all these books before. So there's always something new.
Right, absolutely. Okay, so in the essence of time, I could talk about mindset all day, but I want to talk about the things that we discussed that you discussed in your course breakdown when I was at your the LA romance writers meeting this past week.
Mm-hmm.
And I gotta say, like, I talk to a lot of authors, and the romance writers that I know are like the most on point with this stuff for anybody. Like, y'all are ruthless marketers, and I love it.
Nice.
So you talked about 3 pieces in your talk. You talked about Mailchimp. You talked about which Mailchimp and or a comparable mailing list service, InstaFreebie, or I assume InstaFreebie or BookFunnel would be equally appropriate because they are like similar. They have similar concepts, and then Facebook ads. So could you tell people who still don't know like why a mailing list is so important?
Sure. A mailing list, it's so funny because I find a lot of people starting with the lower importance things like social media, but a newsletter should be at the top of your list, because basically you're becoming your own BookBub or whatever, platform you advertise on. It's where you're gathering, your fans put you where you are, so it's a part of how you market to them, and it's an essential part of your marketing plan when you launch a new book, because it gives you that burst from your warm or hot audience that has bought from you before or is ready to make the leap to put forth money to buy from you. And it's building a relationship with these people. And so why not aggressively have, all these warm to hot leads on one list where you can send them a letter, possibly free, right? Whenever you want. And I was just looking at some ads last night, and some of these places are booked up until October. And I can send out a newsletter tomorrow if I want to.
Absolutely, absolutely. I have one other thought on this matter for mailing lists, which is like liking a page or like following a Twitter account like is relatively meaningless. Like, it doesn't have much value in a human being's life. But people still value their email account, and to be able, and when they exchange their email for a book, even a free book, they are intrinsically and emotionally and mentally, even if they don't think about it consciously, assigning some value to the thing that they are getting, because they're giving you access to the thing that they hold most precious online. Do you feel that as well?
I do. And coming from a sales background, like, people free stuff, is good, but yeah, they're handing over your email and your name. That gives you a little more incentive, a little more stickiness, let's say, to the thing that you're getting. Because a lot of people hoard free books. I've talked to some readers that, oh yeah, I got it free and it's still sitting on my Kindle. It's like, ugh, that poor author.
Right. Well, I mean, I think that, like, so this brings us to the second piece of this, which is the Insta freebie slash. I know BookFunnel just started doing their, like, bundles recently, but, like, kind of the same way, but mainly Insta freebie, where you can put up a free book and in exchange for your email address, like, they can get a book or a sample for a book for free. And this is something that I just finally got into a couple of weeks ago using InstaFreebie, and I can't believe that it took me so long. Like, I'm irritated at myself that it took me so long to start doing InstaFreebie, because it was like hundreds of people that signed up for, like, these giveaways that I'm doing, like, every week. Like, I'm getting, like, hundreds of people on my email list, and they are, like, at least, I don't know if they're buying our books, because I haven't really, like, done a big launch, but they are at least engaging on our mailing list at the same level as the people that it took months to find and track down.
Yeah, you have new people sampling your work. You're getting in front of new cold traffic and starting to build a relationship with them. And I really like InstaFreebie because they're not like this, free book open forum. I just emailed them the other day. It's really a service to the authors, all right? You set up your giveaway, and it's up to you to market the links to your people. So it's not like book hoarders are just going to come take all these free books. They do have some on the front page that people that they help promote, people that are promoting a lot, or if people want to get involved in these group giveaways. But that's one reason why I really like their service, because I know that the results are coming from where I have planted these links to get my cold traffic sucked in so that I get their email. And I really like the InstaFreebie MailChimp Facebook flow because it's automated. It's not I'm not importing and exporting lists or anything. They're just automatically flowing through from InstaFreebie to MailChimp, and then from MailChimp to Facebook. And then from those two, right, I can market with a newsletter, or I can market with a Facebook ad, and then stay in front of them and then grow the relationship, start to have them recognize who I am. And this is stuff that, big marketing or companies have known forever, right? That's why you sell the Coca-Cola ads every 2 seconds.
Absolutely. I mean, I think that's so. What you said, the last thing that. There's a lot of good stuff, but the last thing that you said is great because, like, you're right. Like, big companies are marketing all of the time, and, like, they like money, so, like, they wouldn't do it if it didn't make them money. Like, this is always, like, the logic that I try to break down with us. It's like, okay, do you believe Coca-Cola likes money? Yes. Do you believe they would just burn money that they didn't have to burn? No. Okay, so if you see ads and marketing and emails and stuff all of the time that Coca-Cola's doing, do you think that there's a positive ROI associated with that? Yes. Okay, cool. So there's probably a positive ROI associated with you doing it as well, because Coca-Cola's not an idiot.
Exactly. And the skill of online marketing, because social media is supposed to be casual. It's a place people go to. So it's a little different, right? It's a little different from traditional marketing. And so that's the part where the little bit of the learning curve is to gently ease people in to get to know you, before you make the sale. And then authors have no time. And so that's one of the biggest reasons that I like the structure of the 3 tools we're talking about, because they all work seamlessly together. And I'm not constantly sitting down trying to do something. With them. Right,
absolutely. So can you talk a little bit about the integration that we're talking to, since most of the people weren't in this meeting previously, the MailChimp InstaFreebie Facebook ad integration?
Sure, yeah. So it all comes to the concept of the sales funnel, where you're trying to get, cold traffic interested and then warm it up. Opted in, so you have their email and then the ability to market to them. So with InstaFreebie, you can create what's typically called a lead magnet, right? It's something free that you're giving away like a sample of your book or a free book. I like to do short stories for that. And with Insta Freebie, right, you set up the book and they take care of all the techie stuff. Like if someone didn't get the book or there was a problem getting the book, the reader will email Insta Freebie. So you set up the book and then you have a link and you set the link wherever you want people to be able to click on it to claim your book. So, and that's where your social media and stuff comes in, or your blogging, where you can, hey, check out, do you want to try a sample of this? Here's a link to claim it, to download it to your phone. So then they opt in, they hand over their name and email, and then Insta Freebie integrates with MailChimp. So it's pretty easy. Basically, there's just a button you click, and then you log into MailChimp, and it connects your Insta Freebie account with your MailChimp list. And so Insta Freebie will send those opted-in emails to your MailChimp list, right, on its own, wirelessly, seamlessly. And then MailChimp, what you can do in Facebook is if you go into audiences, MailChimp will integrate with Facebook. So you create an audience that is your MailChimp list. Specifically, it's MailChimp. And then that audience updates on Facebook every 3 to 7 days. So again, it's seamless, right? It's doing it on its own. And so that way, when you run an ad, right, you're setting up an ad, you just select if you want to set up an ad targeting your newsletter audience, you would just select that audience you created. And that way, then you're marketing to them on Facebook, you're getting in front of them again. And the emails that come over from MailChimp to Facebook, they match up at a rate of about 40 to 70%.
Right, because not everybody on your MailChimp on your email list is going to be using the same email on their Facebook account, or is going to even have a Facebook account necessarily.
Exactly.
Okay, so like I love the idea of using these. I personally joined like 1,000 group giveaways on Insta Freebie, and like I am very much enjoying that process because
nice.
Like I've maybe gotten, I think I started 3 weeks ago, and we've got like 700 people already on our mailing list from those giveaways, and like I know that they may or may not be like the highest quality as far as like really wanting it, but I am very entertaining on my mailing list, so like I'm pretty confident that if they downloaded my book and they open my email, they're going to enjoy what I have to say. That's my hope. I know it's not as good as having it on a blog, but you can use these giveaways very effectively, and I do other giveaways too, and I don't think that I don't find that the Insta Freebie or Book Funnel like people that get my free book are any worse than the people that have signed up for like a book giveaway that I'm doing through like King Sumo. So you also have that functionality where you could, if you want to supercharge your mailing list opt-ins, you can join these group promos that are happening on both Book Funnel and Insta Freebie, and maybe 70 or 100. Like sometimes it's as low as like 20 or 30, sometimes it's as much as 150, but they're all on they're like bundling all of these people, and then you have to there's like rules, you have to send out emails to everybody. So they're driving a lot of traffic to these sites. And then
yeah. And it's always worth it to check out these different services. You never know, one might be good for one thing, one might another, and there's all kinds of lead magnets, not just a free book. And there's gift cards, there's people have given away Kindles in the past, and people used Rafflecopter. I don't know, do people still use Rafflecopter?
Yeah, I mean, there's like Rafflecopter, Gleam, and King Sumo are like all still in use. I think Gleam's the newest one. I personally like King Sumo because it was like a one-time payment, and I didn't have to pay every month. But like, I mean, I like if you're gonna do a giveaway, if you're gonna do that kind of giveaway where you're probably attracting people that don't even know who you are, then it does behoove you to also do some of these group giveaways where at least people are downloading your book and not joining your giveaway to just get like. I just did a giveaway with like Stephen King's On Writing and other like book marketing books, And like
Oh,
my
that's a
book,
great book.
yes, they're all, but like there was, my book wasn't in there. So like if you're gonna do a giveaway where you're signing up a bunch of people and your book's not even part of that, then it probably behooves you to potentially also join these group giveaways where at least they are downloading your book and know what your book is.
Yeah, yeah.
So here's one thing that this is what I want to talk about as we close before we get to your before we talk about your course and how we can get to the course and what you have coming up next. So here's the thing, like I run a lot of Facebook ads, and I know people that get very low cost per click that are very engaged, and I always wonder what am I doing wrong to get that my cost per click is like triple what these other people are getting. So can you talk a little bit about like how to get an audience and how to like target an audience to get your cost per click to a reasonable level where you can theoretically like make a profit on your Facebook ads for once? That would be nice.
So what is your cost per click, just out of curiosity?
So it ranges anywhere from about like 67 cents to like $1.27. But I know people.
That's actually very good.
Well, but I know many people who are getting like 20 or some people getting 2-cent clicks, and I know that's from like their redirect audience. But like, is getting your cost per click down mostly about targeting better, or putting better ad copy in, or putting better pictures, or like, can you break this down for us so I'm not just rambling?
Oh, sure. So, well, first of all, I want to preface this by saying that I'm by no means a Facebook ad expert. And the guru I listen to for Facebook advice is Rick Mulready. He has a fabulous course on Facebook ads that goes in detail into everything, and his podcast is the Art of Paid Traffic. I don't know, have you heard that one before?
I listen to him whenever he's on Marketing Made Easy with Amy Porterfield, who's like my Facebook ad guru.
Oh yeah, he talks about her a lot too. Yeah, I think they all run in the same circles. So the cost per click, there's so many things that tie into ads. I mean, obviously you could set your own bid price if you wanted to in your Facebook ad. The only place I've gotten, and I've heard of people talking about getting low cost per click, is with videos. And I did hit like the 20-cent mark with some videos I ran on Facebook.
Was that for like you did like a 5-second ad and then retargeted it, or like how did your video work?
My video, so I'm going to preface this by saying, like, so when you're going to set up an ad, there's an objective called video views, but just because it's a video doesn't mean you have to select that objective. You can select conversions if you want to when you run your ads. And the videos I do, so because I'm a romance author, Facebook will often reject, sexy book covers and things. And I'm trying to get people to know me better, so it's usually a video of me talking about the book or about the series, or like a book trailer, and then having the book description, and then that's another good place to plant an Insta freebie link. If you're talking about a series and it's book 3, why not give a download to book 1 in your ad? But there's a lot of things, because it's like a bidding platform, and so the bottom line, Russell, with Facebook ads is testing. And a good thing to do is have a couple of different ads that you start. You can start them all at the same time, and then you just turn off the ones that aren't performing the way you want them to. Because there's no magic recipe. Even, I'm sure Amy Porterfield and Rick Mulready will tell you that it's all about testing. So don't give up. Try different things. Yeah.
I want to, but this is when, to go back to what we were talking about before, like I feel like a child, like in this particular medium, because like I don't understand how Facebook ads or Amazon ads work. So even though I am excellent at like doing other kinds of marketing, I am horrible at this kind of Like, I mean, look, anybody can run ads. But running ads at like a cost per click that is at least like break even or better, that's a different story. And I know like Rick and Amy, they talk a lot about like they're doing $1,000 and so courses. So I think I just heard him say that like a good cost per click for them is like $9. And I'm like, I could never survive on by putting a $2 book on Amazon, getting a $9 click, and that would be insane. Be insane. Be insane to do.
Yeah. For higher ticket items like that, yeah, your cost per click would definitely go up.
Right, exactly. So like you said, like, but they do say like put a bunch of ads and in place, watch them run for a few days, take the ones that aren't performing well, let the remainder run, and then find the best one, and then like you use that as like your new barometer to test other ads. But that is not cheap.
Well, and the thing, I mean, again, there's so much that goes into ads, so I wouldn't expect too much sales-wise. Like, like I discussed in my talk, is running a buy my book ad to cold traffic, and cold traffic would be, people who don't know who you are at all. They've never heard of you, and suddenly you're there going buy my book. It's setting the expectations and knowing, what objective you're setting and who the audience is. I would expect better results from, let's say, people from your website traffic, an audience of your website traffic, or your newsletter. And so maybe try running different ads to those people and see what you get with a buy my book. The cold traffic, probably not.
Right. All right. I would love to talk to you about this forever, but I want to make sure we have time for the laughable questions, and I know you have a hard out. So could you talk to us about what's coming next from you? Your courses or whatever you would like to discuss as like your next thing.
So my courses are set to launch next month. The one I am completing today is called The Power of Three, and it's about setting up the process that we've just been talking about, which is Insta Freebie, MailChimp, and Facebook ads. And that's a step-by-step video course because I know people are overwhelmed, and that makes it so much easier to just follow along. The other course I have is called Author Online Essentials. And so if it's for new authors who don't even have a website or a newsletter or any social media, they don't even know what a Facebook page is, that's a video course on complete setup for those tools, as well as how to make good images. I think you had asked me about images. And there's two tools that I use to create images because, again, romance author covers tend to be a little bit too sexy for the internet in general.
Okay, yes. Yeah, I use Canva and Fonto and Typorama to make my, like, image graphics usually.
Yeah, there's so many. PicMonkey, I love Photor. And then to get my book cover on a 3D image, like an iPhone or an iPad or a book, I use eCover Authority. And I like these tools because it's a one-time payment. I know a lot of people like Photoshop, but I'm like, I don't need another payment every month to another system. So, not to be cheap, but I don't have endless supply of money.
No, I mean that's part of business. Part of business is being cheap. Like you have to make sure you're getting a good ROI. Like that's why I don't use MailChimp, because the minute that I got over 2,000 things, it was like $80 a month, and I found this site called Sendinblue, which was $5 a month for the same emails, and I was like, well, I know it's a little bit more hassle, but I really want to save that $75 a month. Yeah,
well, MailChimp changed things. They keep changing things. Like I think from the free plan, the next plan up is it's now $10 a month with MailChimp. I think it's a combination of how many subscribers you have and how many emails you're sending out per month.
Yes, so whatever it was, like the one I use now is very cheap, but it is not nearly as like integrated as this one is. I totally recommend everything you're saying if you have less than 2,000 subscribers, but if you have more than 2,000 subscribers, you may have to look around unless you're making like gangbusters from those subscribers.
Yeah, and it's just a matter of personal preference too. There's a lot of people that just don't like certain platforms and they mesh well with others. Like I have one friend that loves Constant Contact.
Right. Yeah. I mean, the good news is in the internet now, there's something for everybody.
Exactly.
So how can we go about finding this course? Is there like a sign up page now, or where do we
Yeah,
go?
there's an early bird opt-in for both courses on my website, which is yourfictioneditor.com. And those will go live next month. I was hoping to get the author essentials done by the end of this month, but that's not going to happen. So even though it says this month, I got to go on and change it. So next month they'll both launch. And yeah, if you just opt in there, you'll be notified when they're ready.
Excellent, excellent. Okay, so two last things. The first, I'm going to let you take 30 seconds or so to pitch people on why they should join your courses or why they should buy your books. Like, why should people, if they're on the fence now, which I don't see how they could be, you've just been delightful for the past 48 minutes. Why should they take the plunge and like join your ecosystem, either on your fiction editor or buying your romance books?
So with your fiction editor, my entire focus is fiction. A lot of authors who write books don't want a general editor. They want somebody who knows story. And obviously, being an author myself, I've taken a lot of courses on the craft and business of being a writer. And so that's my goal, is to help other authors. So whether you need editing, which my rates, I believe, are very affordable, they're on my website for all the world to see. And while I'm doing that, my courses are there to help you with the business side of your career. And again, they're very simple and easy to follow videos. Most of them are 5 minutes long. And so that's my mission. I just want to really help our industry, because I find that things are changing so fast that people are getting a little bit left behind.
Excellent. I love it. And what kind of romance do you write for people that are on romance?
Oh, sure. I write under the pseudonym Jewel Quinlan, and I write contemporary and paranormal romance. So if that's your thing, check me out. My goal there is to be page-turning storyteller. So usually my characters have unusual jobs, like a rock star or kite surfer or DJ, what have you, things like that. So.
Awesome, awesome. Okay, so now everybody who's been tuned out is going to tune back in and give you a chance to impart one piece of wisdom, either something that you've said before or something you haven't said. What do you want them to leave this podcast with?
Never give up on your dreams. You can do it. There's a reason why they keep nagging you. It's because you can do it.
Awesome. I love it. And finally, where can we find you on social media, and can you plug your website one more time?
My website for my editing business is yourfictioneditor.com, and my website for my author is jewelquinlan.com. And I don't know if are you going to put links, or do I need to spell that?
No, I'll put links. Okay. Yeah, and where can we find? Do you have Twitter, Instagram, things like that?
Oh yeah, for my author side, everything is accessible from my website. Everything you can find there. That's the hub.
Awesome, great. Well, thank you so much for coming on, Jewel. You've been awesome.
Thanks for having me, Russell. I appreciate it.
So I hope you enjoyed that episode with Eva Hartmann, also known as Jewel Quinlan. If you did, go to her website and check her out. Sign up for her mailing list, sign up for the pre-order for her new courses, and just let her know that you got a lot of value out of her episode. And if you want to get something for free, head on over to GoSellYourSoul.com and pick up the first chapter of my new book, Sell Your Soul, How to Build Your Creative Career. It's the book I wrote for you. Again, that's GoSellYourSoul.com. Make sure to join our Facebook group at writingandsellingcommunity.com. That's also free. And if you're in a charitable mood, leave us a review, subscribe, and rate us on iTunes. All right. We're out of here, guys and girls, females, males, wannabes, creators, women, men. I'll talk to you at the next one.